So we've got a couple of things to do today, and first is legislation. I want to thank the City Council. Hold on, this chair seems kind of low. There we go. Thank the City Council for passing. You know, back in November, the people of this city overwhelmingly approved a referendum to change our campaign finance system, to get big money out of our local elections, and to empower everyday New Yorkers who give small donations and really strengthen them by adding to the ability of those donations to be matched with public matching funds. So we already had a very good campaign finance system, to be clear, but we needed to go farther. We needed to more aggressively get big money out of politics. We needed to more aggressively empower low donors, everyday New Yorkers, and ultimately create a situation where candidates could run for office in the city and never have to talk to a big donor because they could fund their campaigns solely with grassroots contributions and public matching funds. We're finally at that point. We're finally at a point of real reform and change in this city, and the people overwhelmingly supported it. The City Council did something very important, however. They recognized that the referendum did not make clear that the immediate special election, which now has emerged for public advocate, should be covered by those same exact rules. And I want to thank the Council for recognizing the need to add legislation to clarify that point, which is what's before us here today. So it's Intro 1288, and it takes the changes that were made in the referendum in November and puts them into law immediately for the special election for public advocate and all special elections and regularly scheduled elections that will occur in 2019. I want to thank the Executive Director of the Campaign Finance Board, Amy Loprest, and her team for working with us on this legislation. Obviously, Speaker Corey Johnson and Councilmember Ben Kalos, sponsor of Intro 1288, and Councilmember Fernando Cabrera, the Chair of the Government Operations Committee. Thanks to all of them for recognizing this need and acting on it so quickly. And again, these reforms, these additional reforms will be in place immediately for the public advocate elections, all other elections in 2019 and beyond. Want to now invite any members of the public. We have testimony, one member of the public, Tawaki Komatsu, to speak to this piece of legislation. Yes, go ahead.
My name is Tawaki Komatsu. My testimony for this public hearing that I intend to have voided is for the benefit of federal judges. I'm using this hearing to lawfully petition for redress and promptly tell anyone who interrupts me to shut up. Your office is still illegally concealing from the public the video recording of my chat with you on July 18th of 2017 that exposed the fact that you fraudulently claimed to support the hiring of military veterans and fighting wage theft, and exposed the fact that you condone major deficiencies within HRA and its business partners. The NYPD is illegally withholding body camera video from me since illegally stopping, seizing, and injuring me on December 26th of 2017. After I informed Ben Kalos on March 10th of 2016 that HRA's business partner, Urban Pathways, that Voters Finance committed a fraudulent bait and switch with an apartment lease I signed on February 16th of 2016, Urban recently hired a law firm to fraudulently claim that I owe it payments that I never have. HRA Commissioner Stephen Banks has illegally condoned the fact that I was illegally prevented from inspecting draft contracts with Urban and others in HRA's offices at 4 World Trade before public hearings about them on 3 dates last year. Major security deficiencies and repairs in the building operated by Urban in which I reside that I briefed you about on January 8th last year in this room continue to be neglected with Mr. Banks' knowledge following my recorded chat with him on December 18th. I'm almost done. Your agencies continued their business Voters Finance with NTC data that still subjects me to wage theft dating back to 2012, was recently found guilty of discriminating against a Jew in Europe, and is dealing with a class action lawsuit for discriminating against black people. When I talked to you on March 15th of 2017 and March 27th of 2018, I asked you for legal assistance, and you suggested that I could get it with your administration's help. That never materialized. In closing, I have 2 sworn affidavits from witnesses filed in my federal lawsuit that is presently against your Community Affairs Unit and defendant NYPD Inspector Howard Redmond and others. Redmond continued to violate my rights at public meetings you held after I talked to you and NYPD Commissioner O'Neill about him in 2017. I intend to have you, Mr. Banks, and Mr. O'Neill added as defendants in that lawsuit. Have a nice day.
Thank you. With that said, there's no other public testimony, so I will now sign this legislation into law. How many do you need? Five. I'm making sure to do a 9 because it's 2019. And this legislation is now law. And now for the second part of today's activities, I want to, oh, actually, I'm sorry, I failed to say a few words in Spanish about that. Let me just do that really quickly on the previous, my apology. Hoy tuvimos una audiencia y firmamos un proyecto de ley que refuerza de manera inmediata nuestras leyes de financiamiento de campañas, ofrece una nueva opción que rebaja los límites en las donaciones y aumenta la porción de donaciones pequeñas que puede ser igualada. Now, with that, I want to turn to this proclamation, and this is to formally set the date for the public advocate election. Now, the law provides us a very limited window in which to achieve this election. The public advocate, then public advocate Tish James, now Attorney General, resigned on December 31st. That activated the window of time in which we could have the special election to fill that very important seat. By signing this proclamation, I'm declaring Tuesday, February 26, 2019, to be the date of the public advocate election. We chose this date to maximize voter participation. This was the latest date available under the legal limit. That also would fall on a Tuesday. That was not a vacation day, was a regular work day. This obviously means that we've got just over 7 weeks until this election. We've got a lot of work to do to get the word out. Special elections are always a challenge. We know this. They get less attention, for better or for worse. They get less attention than regular elections do. But Public Advocate's Office, I can attest from personal experience, is an important role. It's important that the people of the city focus on this election. Over these next weeks, we're going to work very hard to inform New Yorkers about the election, to make sure they participate, and make sure they recognize how important it is to the future of this city. Just a few words in Spanish on that. Hoy firmo una proclamación para establecer la fecha de la elección especial para el defensor del pueblo. La elección será el 26 de febrero. Escogimos esa fecha para darles a los neoyorquinos la mejor oportunidad de votar. And with that, I think you only need one pen on this, right? Okay. All right, the date of the election is set, and that concludes today's hearing. Thank you, everyone.